Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Find Your Superpower. This class is for you if you know that you want to find fulfilling work and make an impact in the world, but you're feeling stuck and you have no idea what you want to do. So tell me in the comments if this sounds like you. One, you're constantly asking yourself, what am I good at? Or what should I do with my life? Essentially, you don't feel a sense of conviction in yourself. And maybe you're trying to figure it out, right? You're taking Myers Briggs or other personality assessments, other strengths assessments, but you still can't find the answer. Number two, you want to make an impact in the world and build a fulfilling path. And you know this in your gut, right? But you struggle with speaking to what you want and you feel like you're wasting your time and your energy. Or number three, your mind often races with all of the things that you could do, right? But you don't have enough confidence in any path to make a decision. And you don't know which path to choose, right? Maybe you're thinking, well, I'm good with people, so I should go explore HR or learning and development, or I want to make an impact, so maybe I should go work for a nonprofit. And what you see happening is this like starting and stopping. But again, there's a lack of conviction on choosing any path, and it can feel really exhausting. So tell me in the comments which one sounds the most like you. All right. Well, if this is hitting home for you, then you are definitely in the right place. In the next 30 minutes, you're going to discover the one thing that's going to give you the clarity you're seeking on what to do with your life and build a fulfilling career path. And it's this hidden secret that affects all of us human beings. But when you understand it, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to create this crystal clear career vision that motivates you, inspires you, and drives you to choose the path that you want. So today, you're going to discover the 4 clues to finding your unique superpower so that you can leave your mark on the world. A 4-step process that's helped hundreds of my clients discover their true purpose and advance more quickly in their careers. They've started businesses, negotiated roles that really light up their souls, and so much more. And the specific next steps that you need to create a career path you love with confidence and clarity. And I want you to stick around until the end. I have a special offer that's available today. All right. And I'm going to make that available to my action takers. So with that, are you ready to learn how to find your superpower? If you are, just type yes in the chat right there. All right. So who am I and why should you listen to me today? I'm Thelma. I'm a career and leadership coach, and I'm also the CEO and founder of Work Bigger, which is a career coaching company where dissatisfied high achievers come to find their purpose and figure out what they want to do with their careers. I'm also the creator of the Work Bigger method. To date, we've helped hundreds of members and clients find their purpose, and we see them negotiating new roles at their companies, negotiating significant raises and promotions, starting businesses, writing books, and so much more. We also work with multi-million and billion-dollar brands supporting leaders with developing better work habits. I'm a certified coach with the Neuroleadership Institute and CORE, which means that we integrate neuroscience and positive psychology into all of our trainings. I have more than 10 years experience in corporate America, working in strategy and business development roles. I come from companies like the Associated Press, Group M, and Condé Nast, and I'm also a mom to 2 amazing boys. I landed on this path because I struggled to figure out what I wanted to do for about 10 years. So I've been exactly where you're at right now. I spent all of my 20s feeling really motivated and having a lot of ambition, but I had no idea which path to choose. I really lacked clarity. So let's talk about what's happening to your mind when you're lacking clarity. When you're lacking clarity, the mind is experiencing an impasse, and that means that it feels stuck. And you don't feel good when that's happening. Maybe you're feeling stressed, demotivated, frustrated, confused. And when you're experiencing these emotions, a couple of things happen. One, you stay in avoidance, which means that you avoid what you need to do to achieve your goals. And eventually the stress of that comes back to haunt you. It like builds up over time. And number two, right? It could be one or the other, is you're reactive, right? You think if you just take action and keep doing something, you eventually will figure things out. And this often leads to burnout. So instead of addressing what you really need, I see a lot of people engaging in what I call busy action. That means that the action you're taking isn't productive. So what's the difference? Let's talk about productive action and busy action. Productive action tends to be very intentional, right? With productive action, you have a strategy. You know the steps that you need to take to figure out what you want to do, right? And if things don't work out right away, that's okay because you have a bigger plan. You know what to do next. With busy action, on the other hand, you are just busy, right? So maybe you're running around trying different things without a well thought out plan. It's really the equivalent of throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that something will stick, or like closing your eyes and crossing your fingers and hoping that something will work out. So I want you to think about how that feels, right? You're not anchored or grounded in a plan, and you're doing a lot. You're doing many different things, but you're not confident that anything's actually going to work out. So deep down, you're still afraid that you're not going to figure out this whole career dilemma, right? Because you know that what you're doing isn't productive. And this is how you burn out. This is how you start to lose your confidence if you'll ever figure out this whole career thing. And you start to think like, there's just no solution. I'm stuck in this forever, because your brain doesn't know where like that light at the end of the tunnel is. So here's what busy action looks like to give you some more context. One, maybe you're jumping from job to job, right? And before you know it, several years have passed by and you find yourself in this cycle. This is the cycle that I was in for about 10 years. I would start a job, and at first I would be super excited. Then a few months in, I'd feel disconnected. And I think, well, it's the job's fault. I would then go out and I would find another job, and it was the same thing, like over and over again. And in the meantime, because my strategy wasn't really well thought out, I found myself in this cycle wasting almost a decade, right? So that's one symptom. Number two is you start researching graduate school programs because it will help you pivot, not because you have a clear outcome in mind. All right, so I'm going to say that again. You start researching graduate school programs because you think it will help you to pivot, not because you have a clear outcome in mind. So I did this as well, right? I decided to go to business school. And when I got there, I saw that all of my classmates were in the same boat. Everyone was looking at business school as their opportunity to make a change, but no one was really clear on the return on investment. And meanwhile, right, you're spending so much money and so much time on the like in this program, and some people even had to take out big loans. So it was really the same thing of like, let me cross my fingers and hope it works out. And again, you're hoping that it will help you make a change. You're not necessarily clear on the outcome that you're going to receive in the end. And number three, you're going on LinkedIn and Indeed to find the right opportunity, right? And you start applying online before you get clear on what you want to do. I totally understand this. I used to think if I can see the job opportunity, then I'm going to know. I'm going to know what I want. It's going to fill that gap for me. But what happens when we go on LinkedIn or Indeed, hoping that we're going to find something that clicks for us, right? First, there's so many options that we get overwhelmed and we feel really discouraged. Let me know in the comments if this is something you've done, right? Or we find jobs that align with what we're already doing, right? We find jobs that align with what we're already doing, which really just keeps us stuck in the same path that we're in, the path that we're not happy with. And number four, you're updating your resume and sending out applications into a black hole. And this can feel really defeating because you have no insight into whether your efforts are working or not. And it takes so much energy with each application, right? So imagine spending hours on your applications, your resumes, your cover letters, updating your LinkedIn, submitting it online, and then no response. It doesn't feel good, right? It's exhausting. So let me know in the comments, are you engaging in busy action? And if you are, I'm curious, which one of these 4 things sound most like you? All right. So let's talk about the one thing that you need to shift out of this busy action to productive action so that you can find work you love. To give you some more context, as I set out to figure out what I wanted to do, I engaged first in busy action, then I learned about what wasn't working. So I eventually shifted to more productive action. So here are some things I did. I went from job to job, hoping to land the right one. I took a 2-day aptitude test that measured all of my natural abilities. I read all of the career books out there, like What Color is My Parachute? And I even bought a book called The Big Book of Jobs. Like, that actually exists. I took personality tests. I spoke to hundreds of people about my career. I worked with coaches, mentors, even spiritual healers, and I started beta testing different frameworks. Essentially, I spent hundreds of hours researching and learning and questioning. And here's what I discovered. I learned that the one thing that can give you the clarity that you seek is understanding your specific pattern as a human being. And I'm going to call this your unique thumbprint. So knowing your thumbprint helps you to understand exactly how you can make a contribution in the world. It helps you to unlock the door to building a fulfilling career path and life. It is your superpower secret. So let's talk about your thumbprint. What is it? Your thumbprint, or your superpower secret, is something that's unique to you. It's a pattern that you excel in. And it's a pattern because you find yourself consistently seeking this thing out or doing this thing, right? So you find yourself naturally wanting to spend time in this space. You easily gravitate towards it. Time seems to fly by really fast when you're operating in this space, and you feel fulfilled and driven by it. Ultimately, the more you love it, the more you do it. And this pattern is then further and further solidified in you. And it allows you to add value in the world. You make a contribution through this pattern, this unique thumbprint of yours. And you add value because of 2 things. One, it allows you to show up as your best, most talented self, right? And what happens when we show up as our best, most talented selves, right? We have more to give. And we show up with more energy and excitement. And that has a huge impact on everyone around you. And it also allows you to add value in a way that no one else can, right? And this makes you unique to employers. You can communicate that value more, and you can stand out. You can negotiate for more money, and ultimately you can be more aligned with your work. Everyone has it, but everyone's thumbprint is different. And if you can discover your thumbprint and how to read it, you can use it to unlock your purpose and your path. So here are the 4 clues that will unlock your unique thumbprint. Number 1, emotions, using your feelings to guide you and reveal to you what lights you up. Emotions or feelings are responses that we have, and they're felt in the body. And as humans, we have 2 types of responses. We have away responses, which happen when we're in fight, flight, or freeze. Ultimately, we're not feeling good when we're in this place, right? Our body is releasing cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and we're feeling negative emotions like anger, sadness, frustration, or we're feeling fear, right? And number 2, we have toward responses, which happen when we're experiencing a reward. In this case, our body is releasing the chemical dopamine and even adrenaline. And when this happens, we move toward an action with excitement. A reward is something that we want. It could be anything: a promotion, time with family, more money, tasks that we love. When we're in the toward state, we're feeling happy, joy, love, excitement, more of those positive emotions. So it's important to understand what triggers your toward responses, because this is when you're naturally driven towards something that feels good, All right, so I want you to think about, when do you feel most energized? When do you feel most confident? When do you lose track of time? This is where the love for your work comes in, right? This is what you're seeking for your career. And this is something that you have deep down already, and it's important that you learn to identify it. The second clue is your actions, using your actions to point to what you naturally enjoy doing. So by action, I mean the specific behavior. When you're having a toward response and you're feeling fulfilled, you're going to do things that naturally feel good to you. So you want to identify your behaviors, because it's going to shed light on what you naturally love to do, right? So some questions to think about are, when do you find yourself working from a place of flow? What are you doing? Like, what are the tasks that you gravitate to? These are some of those things to consider. The third clue is feedback. You want to hone in on the feedback that you receive from others. Feedback is a powerful tool when you know how to leverage it. And it means that others are reflecting back to you what they see, right? The world around you is reflecting to you your gifts. And having that reflection allows you to feel seen and heard, and it solidifies for you what you already know deep down, right? So some things to think about are, what are those around you saying, especially the people who you trust and who you have a connection with, right? What are they reflecting back to you? And how does this align with what you already know deep down inside? Now, the fourth and the final clue is your why. You want to uncover your why. Simon Sinek has this famous TED Talk called Start with Why, and he talks about how companies that start with why have a deeper emotional connection with consumers. He gives the example of Apple and how Apple doesn't say we make computers, but they say we're here to challenge the status quo. Right? This is a belief and a core value. And as a result, Apple, many years ago now, was able to connect with the consumers on a much deeper level. So it is the same with people and careers. People who are really connected to their work aren't connected to, I'm a marketing manager. They talk about and connect to the impact they're making and what they stand for, right? They talk about their mission and they're excited because they're serving a group of people, or they get to challenge themselves, or they get to grow in that experience. That's what's connecting them to their work, not the job role. The job role is a vehicle for that. All right, so understanding your why and what drives you is really important in unlocking your thumbprint. At Work Bigger, we start with why, to help you understand your purpose and to help you establish that emotional connection to your career. This is your anchor, right? This is what makes you special and unique. And it includes looking at your interests and your values. This is part of your career journey that's really foundational, because it's all about understanding yourself and what you want. So just let me know in the comments right here, right? Do you see why it's so important to know your unique thumbprint and to really understand your why? Let me know what's coming up for you in the chat. So now I'm going to show you the exact 4-step process that I use with my clients to activate this thumbprint, right? Ultimately, it breaks the cycle of busy action so that you can take productive action and build a career that you love. So introducing now the Work Bigger method. The Work Bigger method has 4 steps. So get that pencil ready, because you're going to want to take some notes here. And this 4-step process is designed to help you discover this unique thumbprint and to find clarity on exactly what you're meant to create and contribute to the world. So by the time you go through this process, you're going to have clarity on your thumbprint, how to apply that thumbprint, and then what career path to pursue. Now I'm going to break down the 4 steps for you in the system. This is what we do for our clients and what you need to do for yourself. All right, step 1, identify your why you're going to do what you do. So through a series of self-assessments and explorations, you learn to, number 1, identify your values. What do you stand for? These are your motivators and your drivers, and knowing what they are allows you to feel more connected to what you do every single day, right? So what's most important to you, and where do these values come from? For example, if you really value connection, right? Or you really value health, or you really value food. What experiences did you have as a child or as an adult that helped to shape these values for you? Right? And the second part is identifying your interests. What do you care about? Your interests help you to identify your patterns. And when you dig really deep, you can connect the dots for yourself, right? So, for example, you may have many interests. Maybe you're interested in reading and podcasting and traveling, right? But as you dig deep, right, there's always a common theme that connects these interests together. So some questions to think about is, what do you find yourself naturally gravitating towards? And how do all of these interests connect so that they can guide your path? Your values and your interests both come from your experiences, including the challenging parts of your story, right? So this process gives attention to all of you, right? We look at your childhood and your adulthood, and I don't want you to shy away from that. Looking at our stories, right, and where we come from, and even the challenging experiences that we've had can help us connect to the deeper parts of ourselves, and incorporating that into our story can be really powerful. All right, so I'm going to pause right here. Just let me know in the comments, do you see how important it is, again, to connect to your why? We're talking a lot about your why here, and it's a key part of finding your purpose. Let me know in the chat right here. All right, step 2 is identify your how. How do you want to contribute to the world? This means getting clear on the type of role that you want to play inside a company. And this answers the question of, what do you do really well? And ultimately, how do you activate your thumbprint? We do this through the following. We have a process of assessments, which includes a self-assessment. This means you get to look inside yourself again and connect to what you do well, right? So for example, when do you feel most confident, or what do you enjoy doing every day? We also use the Strengths Finder, which is a validated assessment tool. I'm a huge fan of it. And lastly, we guide you through a feedback process. And this covers all of your bases. You have a validated assessment, your self-assessment, and that feedback part that's really important. That's essentially a mirror, right? What others, people that you trust, like what are they reflecting back to you? And from there, you can connect all three. Step 3 is identify the what. This means identifying the direction that you want to take, right? What are you going to do? Do you want to be a financial coach? Do you want to be an architect, a teacher, start your own business, right? Now that you know who you are, what you're good at, and what's most important to you, how is that going to manifest in your life? What is that career going to look like? This process includes conducting research to understand what possibilities might be available to you, right? You don't want to jump to the next job right away, right? You want to explore a bit. So this includes looking at your outreach list, right? Market research to understand the future of work. Where's the market headed? Informational interviews, your personal story, and then your action plan, right? Here's your strategy to make sure that you're in productive action and not busy action. And then following this work, you choose the path that you want to test or explore next. And you have a step-by-step plan that has intention and that's very productive, and you're saving a lot of time and energy because you have clear next steps. It's not like throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? Which is exhausting. And then step 4 is take action. You go out and you find the opportunity. At this point, you have everything that you need to update your resume, your LinkedIn, because you know the industries that you want to go after, right? You know your mission, and you can incorporate that into your interviews. You can speak to the value that you add with confidence. You know the job role that you want. So when you go on LinkedIn and Indeed, you're filtering for the right opportunities. And you've been building your network in the process, right? So you don't have to rely just on job boards to land your next job, which is really exhausting. This method is especially unique. A lot of people will say, go network and update your resume. And what I'm asking you to do is to slow down, right? Do the inner work and then take the step of researching and exploring before committing to a path. This ensures that you're not just leaping into something else without having enough knowledge and information about what you want and what's right for you. Right? So here's what happens when you do this. You're building a career that you love. You get up every single morning knowing what you want out of life. You can say hell yes or hell no to opportunities, saving yourself so much time and money. You create a focused job search strategy. You have more powerful, intentional interviews, allowing you to stand out from the crowd. You can speak to the value that you add with confidence, and you're living a path that's true to you, and you're the best version of yourself for yourself and your loved ones. So do you see how the step-by-step strategic plan is going to save you so much time? Let me know in the comments. So here are some Work Bigger stories, which talks about what has happened when people applied this methodology. This is one of my clients, Jen Wozniak. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just want to highlight that what she says in the beginning, which is through this process, I realized that I was trying to fit a square peg into a round hole when it came to my job choices, right? So here is that busy action. So now, after going through this process, Jen is doing work she loves. She's clear on her thumbprint. She left a job that was burning her out, and actually a career path that was burning her out for years. She got the job she wanted with the hours and the pay that she wanted. She knew her intention, and she got there by having the step-by-step method. It saved her a ton of time and energy, and she's so much more fulfilled right now. This is my other client, Luaska Nonen. And she says, before joining Work Bigger, I struggled with clarity of purpose. I desperately wanted to know my purpose, but truthfully did not give myself the permission to consider what my purpose, dreams would look like for fear that it would come at a cost to my children. So I want to highlight here the fear, right? And how that fear and struggle were so connected. And Luaska was stuck for a long time because she was in the away place, right? I talked about the away state earlier on and making decisions from a place of fear. Now, after going through this method, getting clear on her purpose, and applying this 4-step method that I just taught you all, Luaska is building her own consulting business, which is incredible to see. So now that you see this, I want you to consider, how can you apply this method to your life and your career, right? How can you take these steps following this class today? Take a moment here to consider your next steps. And I really hope learning this method was helpful today. I equate this method with climbing Mount Everest with having a guide versus doing it alone. Because without a method and a strategy that's been tested for years and on hundreds of people, it can really feel like you're climbing Mount Everest and you're doing this big thing all on your own, right? Versus with that support, which makes it so much easier. So do you all see how having this step-by-step process will get you to your goal faster? Let me know what you think in the comments right here. Okay, so for those of you who are thinking, okay, this is great, Belma, but I need some more help to figure this out. This method aligns with me, but I want some more support, and trying to do this on my own feels a little challenging. So let's talk about that now, because I would love for you to break the cycle of busy action and to choose something different today. Right, to choose a much more productive path. And essentially, you can stop this cycle of going from job to job, right? You can save a decade, not spend 10 years on this like I did. You can make a sustainable change and finally get clear on what you're meant to do. And you can take action from a place of confidence and conviction, right? Knowing that you're following your path, and you can be focused and intentional and strategic and finally get that dream job or start the dream business that you've always wanted. So I said earlier that I had an offer for you, and my team and I have set aside time to speak personally with those of you who are ready to take action. On this call, we're going to get real about what's going on in your life and in your career and help you figure out exactly what you can do to find work you love, work that you're connected to and gives you joy. So whatever your biggest challenges are, I can promise you we've seen it all and we know exactly how to overcome it, because we've done it with hundreds of clients before. And I want to highlight, this is not a call for people who want silver bullet solutions. This is for individuals who have a desire and a calling deep down to step into their purpose, but they know, right? You know that you're holding yourself back, right? And you are ready to get to that next level of success. If that is you, then this is your chance to get the help that you've been waiting for. So click on the link here that I shared in the chat, or copy and paste the link in your browser. You fill out the form, you schedule your call, and that's it. And this is a free consultation. So to recap, just click the link in the chat or visit the URL that I shared here. You fill out the application, you're going to be taken to a page to schedule your free call, and that's it. right? So take advantage of this opportunity. Filling out this form is also really good for your mind, and it's a way to connect to the toward state. It's going to allow you to slow down and to process what you've been wanting. So many people don't give themselves the opportunity to do that. So here's the link one more time. Just take a look in the chat right here, fill out that form, schedule your free call, and that's it. That's it for today. I'm really looking forward to speaking with those of you who have scheduled a call. Stay tuned for additional resources from Work Bigger. We send a weekly newsletter. And yeah, thank you so much for your time today, and take care.